What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. I'm going to be talking about a hot topic, which is post-show weight gain. This is super relevant right now because so many people are competing and so few of them are equipped to deal with the issues that come post-show. So the only reason that I feel like I have any sort of input into this is because I have been there, you guys. I did my first show 2.5 years ago. I just didn't really have much knowledge at all about what I was putting my body through. So this is back at the start of 2017 and this is me starting my prep. This prep lasted for 16 weeks and I dropped from 62 kilos to 54 kilos. 8 kilos of weight loss over 16 weeks, and this is me 8 weeks later. Yep, 8 weeks and I had gained 13 kilos and I was up at 67 kilos, which is the heaviest I had ever been in my whole life. Not only had I put on all the weight I had lost, I'd put on an extra 5 kilos. Now, before I go any further, I am not saying that in this second photo I am overweight or disgusting or anything like that. The reason that this is not okay is because of the health damage. Adding 12 kilos onto a 55 kilo frame in 8 weeks is just not okay. That's not healthy. So I just thought I'd clarify that before I go any further. So firstly, why does this happen post-show? It sounds kind of obvious, but I'm gonna break it down because it's kind of obvious, but it's also kind of not obvious. I don't know. So I start my cut at 62 kilos. I'm eating, say, 2,000 calories a day and I'm doing no cardio. And week 1, I drop half a kilo. Awesome. Week 2, I don't get a weight drop. So my coach drops my calories and puts in 10 minutes of high intensity cardio per day. Now the reason that we do this in stages like this and we don't just go in at 1,000 calories for 16 weeks is because a 62 kilo body needs more calories to maintain than a 61 kilo body. That is why you have to keep dropping the calories as your weight drops or you will plateau. Now, by the end of my cut, I weigh 54 kilos and I'm eating 1,200 calories a day and doing 2 hours of cardio. Not to mention that you're probably also much more carb sensitive because you've probably been doing a low carb diet. There's also science that shows that a body that has been dieting will have a lower metabolic rate than a body that has been maintaining. So add that into the mix as well, and then comes show day. I stuff my face, I have a massive binge, it's throwing your blood sugars out of whack, and I literally just didn't have any structure to my life whatsoever because I didn't want to. I was just like, I don't want to go to the gym, I don't want to eat chicken and vegetables, I want to eat cake, I want to go out for dinner with my friends. It becomes really, really difficult to tell yourself no because you have no real reason to. You've just gone from having this intensely focused goal for 16 weeks or however long into having no goal, and it is like an inner battle in your head. This period of time can also differ depending on whether you're planning on getting back on stage again soon. I knew that I was going to be competing again, so basically I had 8 weeks to eat as much food as I possibly could. That's kind of where I was at. I think the hardest thing to deal with is the shame that comes with that weight gain, because normally if you've competed you've probably been posting a lot of photos, people have been telling you how great you look, people have been saying, oh, how do you do this, how do you do it, and then all of a sudden you're like, shit, I cannot go out in public like this, and that's how you feel. And especially when you've been on a low carb diet and then you eat a lot of carbs, it all goes to your face first. You get these like hamster cheeks, your eyes are like tiny. That's like the one thing that you can't cover up, isn't it? I mean, you can wear baggy clothes, you can wear whatever you want, but you can't cover up your face. It becomes really, really mentally challenging because you really just feel shameful. Some people have the flip side of the coin where you are still very, very lean post-show, and that in itself can be shameful too because people are like, well, have some cake, man, just enjoy some cake, and you're inside, you're having this battle with yourself. And funnily enough, I actually experienced a little bit of that this time around. I've just competed in my 5th show and I am 4 weeks post-show. I'm up about 4.5 kilos and I feel really, really great. I feel super healthy, really well. I'm enjoying myself, I'm having treats, but I'm not going crazy. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a second. But when I came back from the States and I still had veins everywhere, I still had like popping abs, I did feel a little bit shameful, and it was really, really weird for me. It was kind of like, I don't want people to think that I have an eating disorder again, or I don't really know what it was, to be honest, but I think that's just something that's important to mention, because those are the people that kind of get treated like, oh, well, they're okay because they don't have these problems, but it's not necessarily the case. Post-show is very, very mentally challenging, whatever side of the coin you're on. So as I just said there, this time around I have had a very, very deliberate post-show, and I feel awesome. And I'm definitely not eating clean all the time. I am definitely enjoying meals out, treats, in fact quite a lot of them. So I'm going to talk to you now about how I've done that. So the main thing that I have done differently this time around is not grazing. Every time I eat, I check the time and I make sure that I'm waiting at least another 3 or 4 hours until I eat again. And this has been so crucial to me not overeating, because what I'm used to doing is just like picking up like, oh, I'll just have this Reese's peanut butter cup. Oh, I'll just have a little cake with my coffee, and it just adds up over the day. Like, that's 200 calories here, 400 calories there, and before you know it, you've eaten an extra 2,000 calories on top of your diet. And if you're doing that every single day, then that's going to add up really quick. And combined with all the other factors that I mentioned earlier, you are just going to not end up in a good way. The second main thing to make sure of is that you are getting protein every single time you eat. So if you are having a really low protein content meal, a cake with your coffee, also make sure you're having a shake or like an egg white omelette, something with high protein and low fats and carbs, so that you are just getting calories from protein alongside whatever you're having. So it means you can have something really nice, but you're also not skimping on your protein intake. I find that I'm less likely to crave and be hungry if I'm having protein, and I find that my body just looks so much better when I'm eating a high protein diet. Less cravings, and I just feel fuller for longer. While we were still in the States, if we were going for like a big breakfast, I would make sure to order something with high protein content, and then if we were walking around for maybe like 5 hours or so, I'd grab a low carb protein bar, and that would keep me from craving like sugary things, and it would also make sure that I knew I was getting enough protein in my day. So I would make sure that I was eating protein at least like 4 or 5 times every day, and that just helped me feel like I was eating a bit more deliberately, even though I was still really enjoying myself. I would also make sure to balance like my big crazy meals with lighter meals. So if we went and got big pancakes or waffles for breakfast, then later in the day I would make a point to go to a fresh food health restaurant to get my next meal, and just make sure that I was sort of balancing my macros in my head. So I knew that I'd had a lot of carbs and fat in the morning, so I would go low carb and fat in the evening and keep my food really high protein. And I found it quite easy to do this because I knew that the following day I could then have something in the evening and it would kind of balance it out. And I also made sure that I was eating loads and loads of vegetables, ordering sides of veg in restaurants, asking for no oil on them. And then since being home, I add veg into pretty much every single meal, and I do not track my veg at all. Things like onions, mushrooms, spinach, salad leaves, broccoli, asparagus, green beans, peppers, tomatoes. These are all such low calorie additions that just fill you up and they taste great. And that also has just helped me so much to stay full, stay satisfied, and feel healthy again. The other thing that I always think of when I'm ordering in restaurants, staying away from oils and cream is definitely hugely beneficial in keeping your calories down. And that includes creamy sauces, things like mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is like one of my favorite things, but I will stay away from it on a day-to-day basis and just have it as a treat. And the final thing to make sure you're getting is enough water. This sounds so obvious, but after you come off prep and you're eating all these foods, it's really easy to forget about hydrating yourself. And dehydration makes you feel hungry because your body knows that there's water in food. So if you're dehydrated, then that's just gonna add to those cravings and add to that hunger. So between every meal, I try and make sure to drink like a big like shaker of water like this. This is like 750 mils, and I always have diluting juice because I love it. So those are all the food tips. So those are all the things you're putting in. So now into the things that you are putting out: steps, cardio, and training. So on prep, you were doing like 15, maybe 20,000 steps a day. So post-show, I try and maintain that. I love walking, I love being outside, so that is not a big ask for me. So every day I am trying to hit at least 15,000 steps. I mean, if I don't one day, it's not the end of the world, but if I can, I will. This doesn't just help with your output, but it also helps your mental state. Being outside just helps me so much to get a sense of focus. It helps me not to want to just sit around and eat food all day, and that is the honest truth. Cardio. Now, post-show, I know the last thing you want to be doing is cardio, but if you have a big, crazy, massive binge, then I would say you probably will feel better if you get up the next day and go and do some cardio. But when I say that, I don't mean get up and go on the Stairmaster. I mean plan something super fun. Go to one of those trampoline parks, or go to like an obstacle course, or like an outdoor activity thing, or go rock climbing. Burn some calories doing something fun and take your mind off it. While I was still on holiday, I literally made us walk everywhere because I was just like, why not? We might as well get as many steps in as possible. We'll see more. And yeah, walked everywhere. Last but not least, training. Now, most people will take a few days off after their show, and I think that is the right thing to do. If you don't want to and you don't feel like you have to, then by all means, go to the gym. There is no rules. Listen to your body. If you feel like you need a few days off the gym, fine. After that, get back in the gym, because not only is your body ready to put on fat like a mother, it is also ready to put on muscle. If you get in that gym and you lift heavy and you get strong and you're training really, really, really well, you will get away with post-show a lot better. Believe me. I think for the first sort of like 4 to 8 weeks post-show, the gains that you can make are crazy. Last but not least is the one that everybody hates to hear, and that is to take photos. I know, post-show, nobody wants to see themselves gaining weight. If you can see what's happening in front of you and it's going too fast, you're gonna know by taking photos and taking your weight. If you just bury your head in the sand and ignore it, then 8 weeks down the line, you're 12 kilos up like I was, and it's too late. There are two terms that get thrown about a lot when it comes to talking about post-show. And those are metabolic damage and reverse dieting. I don't know. Let's start with metabolic damage. The reason I hate this term is not because it's inaccurate. It's almost like metabolic damage is like some sort of medical condition. It exists. 99% of those who say they do not have metabolic damage. They just did a competition prep and had all these effects that I described. Yes, your metabolism becomes lower because it adjusts to your new body and to your new lifestyle. And remember, our bodies want to hold on to our fat stores. They're our survival mechanism. So it's going to adjust to all these things and have a lower metabolic rate. And then post-show, you can't stop eating and you gain loads of weight and you say, oh yeah, I've got metabolic damage, because it sounds a lot better than saying, I just can't stop eating. I did not have metabolic damage. It was just adjusted to my new body weight and my new lifestyle. That's what your body does. It adapts. So every week that passes, your body is going to adjust a little bit more. That is why it's important to be extra careful immediately post-show, because that's going to be the time where your body has had the least time to adjust. So there you go. That's my thoughts on metabolic damage. The second term, reverse dieting. Again, it's not that the term itself is inaccurate. It's just the whole conception of the term. I don't even know if these words I'm using are right, but reverse dieting is not a magical thing that's going to like change your life. All that term means to me is balancing yourself. What you do post-show is going to depend on a few things. Firstly, what works for you, and secondly, what your next goal is. Some people post-show like to stay really regimented. These are the people who want to stick to a regimented diet. They don't want to go out and eat. They want to prepare all their meals themselves, and that is absolutely fine if that works for you. Most people, that isn't going to work for. Most people want to go out and enjoy meals out with their friends, have some chocolate, have some popcorn when they go to the cinema, and things like that. Then the second point is, what is your next goal? So are you ever going to get back on stage? If so, how soon? Those who are never going to get back on stage again, it's very difficult to go into having no goal, and I've never experienced that, so it's not something that I can really comment on. Every time I come out of a show, I know when my next show is. So I always have a new goal, which is where I need to develop. So for me, the struggle has always been, I want to gain weight because I want to improve, but I don't want to lose the body that I've worked so hard for. That is the struggle that I personally deal with when I go through my post-show. But of course, if you're never getting back on stage again, that's a very different story, and that's something that I will experience one day, but I haven't yet. So even doing all of these things, the chances are you are going to gain weight, and I am as well. I gained a couple of kilos in the first week, a little bit less, and then a little bit less, and this week I think I gained about half a kilo, and I can feel myself sort of leveling out. So after the sort of 4-week mark, you should feel a bit of a mental change, I think I have anyway, and your body should feel less sort of quick to respond to food, less bloaty, less watery, everything like that. So if you're post-show, I'm gonna say take 4 weeks, really try and use these tips that I've given you. Just let yourself settle, let your body settle, let your mind settle, and accept that it is really difficult, and it's okay to struggle with it. It's okay to worry. I know I do, and I also know that so many people will look at me and be like, oh, she completely has her shit together. But I definitely get these feelings as well. So don't beat yourself up for thinking like that, but just really try to follow these things that I have said, and they will help you so much. And if you can get to that 4th week having done minimal damage, then it will become so much easier to maintain that level of balance after that. Okay, you guys, I really hope that this video was interesting and helpful in some way. I didn't really rehearse what I was gonna say. I just kind of thought I would talk honestly and just get out my thoughts. So if you think there is anything that I missed, then please ask me in the comments. I'm definitely not going to leave this topic at that. I'll definitely be talking about it more. And yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I will love you and leave you, and I'll see you all in the next one.